Have you ever had one of those moments where your child goes from calm to full meltdown in about 3 seconds? Screaming, crying, refusing everything. And suddenly you're standing there thinking, why is this happening? And how do I stop it? For a long time, my default response was frustration, sometimes yelling, sometimes threats, sometimes just giving up. But recently I kept hearing about something called gentle parenting, so I decided to try it. For the next 7 days, I committed to using gentle parenting techniques with my explosive child, no matter what happened. And honestly, some things worked way better than I expected. Other things were much harder than I thought. Here's what actually happened. If you're raising a child with big emotions, you probably know how unpredictable things can feel. One moment, everything is fine. The next moment, you say the wrong thing. You ask them to put shoes on. You say it's time to leave the playground. And suddenly, you're dealing with a full explosion. Before this experiment, my reactions usually looked like this. Stop yelling. Calm down. And sometimes it worked, for a moment. But most of the time, it just made the meltdown bigger. And afterward, I usually felt guilty. So I wanted to see if there was a better way. Gentle parenting doesn't mean letting kids do whatever they want. That's a common misunderstanding. The basic idea is that when kids are overwhelmed with emotion, their thinking brain basically shuts down. In that moment, they're not trying to be difficult. They're struggling to regulate their emotions. Gentle parenting focuses on 3 things. First, acknowledging the child's feelings. Second, staying calm instead of escalating the situation. And third, holding clear boundaries without punishment or yelling. It sounds simple, but actually doing it in the middle of a meltdown, that's the real challenge. So I gave myself 4 rules for the next 7 days. Rule number 1, no yelling. Rule number 2, acknowledge my child's feelings first. Rule number 3, stay calm even during big meltdowns. And rule number 4, keep the boundary, but communicate it calmly. No threats, no punishments in the heat of the moment, just connection first and guidance second. I was curious to see if this would actually change anything. The first real test came on day 1, bedtime. My child didn't want to stop playing, and within seconds, the meltdown started. Normally, I would say, enough, go to bed right now. But this time, I tried something different. I said, I can see you're really upset because playtime is ending. At first, the screaming didn't stop. And honestly, part of me thought, this isn't working. But instead of arguing, I stayed calm and repeated the boundary. It's okay to be upset, but it's still bedtime. The meltdown lasted a few minutes, but something surprising happened. It ended faster than usual, not instantly, but faster. By day 3, I started noticing small changes. The meltdowns didn't disappear, but they didn't escalate as quickly. Instead of fighting me, my child sometimes calmed down faster. The biggest test happened on day 6. It was time to leave the playground. If you're a parent, you probably know how this story usually goes. I said it was time to go, and instantly, the meltdown began. Crying, refusing to leave. My instinct was to rush things and get frustrated. But instead, I tried the gentle approach again. I know you're upset because you want to keep playing. Then I held the boundary. We still have to leave now. For a minute, nothing changed. But then the intensity slowly started dropping. My child was still upset, but they walked with me instead of fighting the entire way. And honestly, that felt like a small victory. After 7 days, here's what stood out to me. First, kids calm down faster when they feel understood. Acknowledging feelings didn't stop every meltdown, but it often prevented them from getting worse. Second, my own calmness mattered more than I expected. When I stayed regulated, the whole situation felt more manageable. And third, gentle parenting still includes boundaries. You're not giving in. You're just handling the moment differently. But let's be honest, gentle parenting is not easy. It requires patience, especially when you're already exhausted. And it definitely doesn't stop every meltdown. Kids still have big emotions. But this approach changed how those moments played out. And that made a real difference. After 7 days, I wouldn't say gentle parenting is a magic solution, but it did help create calmer outcomes in situations that used to spiral quickly. And maybe the biggest change wasn't just my child's behavior, it was how I responded to it. Because sometimes the most powerful shift in parenting starts with us. If you're raising a child with big emotions, you're definitely not alone. What strategies have worked for you? Let me know in the comments.